2 challenge mode manufacturers have now been cleared. And I think now is a good time for us to finish off our 3rd manufacturer in a row, which is officially this, Suzuki. And then afterwards we'll more or less work out the rest as we go along. So let's head over to Suzuki and finish off our bike acquisitions over there, as we have got the RG500 Gamma Racing Modify, the GSXR 600 Racing Modify, the GSX 1400 Racing Modify, and the GSXR 1000 Racing Modify. And we start of course with the RG500 for once again 1 lap around Autumn Ring. I figured since we're more or less getting through these relatively quickly, I might as well squeeze in one more episode, and then I think after this I'll call it a day. Because believe it or not, this is now episode 20 of this game. And I figured, well, because these challenges are pretty easy to get through in terms of acquiring the bikes, I don't think I'm really going to have too much trouble in terms of actually clearing these last few challenges. And there we go, easy peasy. And just like that, we are done. In a time of 49.5. So that's our first lap time in the books. And now, let's move on to number 2, which will be the GSXR 600. Also known as bike number 2 in the expert section of Suzuki in challenge mode. Okay, that's good. So, we have just 2 to go. The GSXR 600 and then the GSX 1400. And where for this one we are doing 2 laps around Suzuka circuit, although knowing me at least, this will probably take me about a minute at best, providing I do not completely bottle it in turn 1 again. So there's our competition. Let's go and see if we can get this done. And this time, I play it smart through the corner, because I do not completely overshoot. And up the inside of the Honda CBR 600, and now I have to figure out how to get past the Yamaha, which probably won't take too long, as I head up the inside, and it looks like this is going to be where it ends. And all that took me was 48.7 seconds. And you know what? I think I'm going to save that replay, because I might as well. Also because, well, I don't have a replay saved with one of the 600 stroke racing bikes yet. I figured, why not? And then, I think because I've made up so much progress today alone, I feel like I've probably earned a day off. Because I'll probably gain nearly 20% of progress by the time we're done here, is what I would estimate. By the time we've got all 4 of these bikes. But either way, we still have another 2 bikes to go. So, the job isn't done yet, but we are getting closer. Okay, 2 bikes to go, and then we can pretty much call it a day. As we have got 2 laps at Fuji Speedway 90s. I don't know if this game either does or doesn't have the 2005 layout. I'm convinced in saying it does, but it's not showing it to me in the challenge mode. So we've got a Honda and we've got a Yamaha. Let's just go after these 2 bikes and basically pass them by the end of the lap. Since that's more or less what I think is going to happen. So doing well so far. As we've got a Kawasaki Zephyr here, I think is what that is. Unless it's the ZRX 1200. And up at the front, well, I think we have a. Oh yeah, it's the Oh yeah, it's the Honda CB 1300 that's at the front. I just remembered that. Anyway. Just gotta continue to set the pace and then we should be fine. Through the final corner, in the slipstream. Having to lift a little bit to get the slingshot, but I get it done. And I complete a full lap to do it with a top speed of 173. And a time in the end of 1 minute and 39.5. The Suzuki GSX 1400 is now mine. And that's after beating a Yamaha XJR 1300 and a Honda CB 1300 Super 4. And now we just have one more bike to go. And then we will be done with Suzuki. And then after that, I'll probably give myself a day off first before getting on with Yamaha and BMW, but I will get round to those when I get round to those. So, yeah. And now we move on to the GSXR 1000. Where once again we have to set a lap within 1 minute and 44 seconds at the Valencia circuit. This, I reckon, is going to be pretty easy, considering I am more or less getting more and more accustomed to riding these racing superbikes pretty much every day now. I'm starting to get more and more used to these superbikes. So, heading through turns 1 and 2, seem to be going alright through here. And keeping my foot in the throttle, which is more or less what I need to do. And I just have to make sure I stay on board this time. No real point in upshifting there because, well, I wouldn't have really gone any faster than I did. And there's definitely more control in the Suzuki than what there was in the Honda and the Kawasaki here. Although, that could just be because I learned to take a smoother entry through that corner. That could also be what did it, but either way, this lap for now is going brilliantly. I'm certainly not willing to say that this lap is going to be perfect by any means. But I go through the final corner and it looks like I'm gonna come away with an easy 142.2 in the end of that. And now I'm gonna need some water before continuing this because I think my throat just gave out. Oh, I did not mean to press retry. That was entirely an accident. Anyway, there we go. So that's now all of Suzuki filled out in the challenge mode. And I think that's now a good time for me to call it a day. I've made some really good progress today, and I think this is probably a good way to cap it off, knowing that I now have a Super Suzuki. I figured this was more or less the best way for me to do that, because why not? Anyway, there we go. It's done. Suzuki is now done. And that only took me just under 13 minutes. So that's now our first horizontal row of challenge mode now done. And next up will be Yamaha. Anyway, there we go. Another 4 bikes are ours, and that now moves my total up to 171. I have 18 fucking pages worth of bikes now. I just have so many of them. And I literally mean so many. It's quite honestly ridiculous with just how many of these I have, if you include all the colour schemes. Anyway, those are the 4 bikes, and now let's view our progress. And we're up to 40.2%, and our bike total has now moved up to 171. And you know what? I think that's a good place to call it a day, because I've been at this now for 4 hours, and I've literally made 20% of progress today alone during that time from challenge mode. And I have also got past the most drawn out part as well, which is also good. So that'll do it for today. And so next time on Tourist Trophy, Expert and Superbikes, Yamaha.